In the beginning of her book Stuck, Diagrams Help, Abby Covert tells the story of helping a friend who had just undergone surgery in a hospital, was discharged and making their way home from the hospital. They had a bunch of medications. They had to stop at a pharmacy to pick up some more. So by the time they got home, they had this entire collection of documents and pill bottles and pamphlets and medicine boxes, and a long road to recovery ahead. You can imagine the overwhelm that not only the friend was feeling, but also what Covert was feeling in this attempt to support someone through this challenging time of recovery, of uncertainty, and even just wrapping their heads around what to do with all of this material that they came home with. So after helping her friend settle in at home to get some rest, Covert dug into this material and, guided no doubt by her background as an information architect, started sorting all of that material into 4 different piles. One pile of things that needed to be addressed today, another pile of things that were relevant over the next 2 weeks of recovery, another pile of things relevant for the longer recovery process, and then the last pile, all of those materials that are just trying to sell us something. After doing that sorting, she focused on just that pile relevant for the next 2 weeks. And from that information, she created a simple but extremely helpful diagram showing what those next 2 weeks were going to look like. At 8 a.m., it was important for her friend to take pill A. Then from 9 to 11 a.m., there would be a home health visit every other day. At 12 p.m., it was time for pill B and an injection. And then at 8 p.m., pill C, and then the need to clean all the equipment used before bed. Now this right here is a pretty simple timeline, but here's what Covert said about it. She said it was the first clear picture of what life would look like for the next 2 weeks in recovery. Coming from this intense surgery in a hospital to making your way home with all of these medications, all of this information to process. Going from that state of overwhelm to a clear picture of what life would look like, not just for Covert and her friend, but also anyone else who was coming over to support the recovery process. Just imagine how helpful this would be hung up on the fridge so that whoever arrives at the home can quickly get a sense for what's going on and how they might be helpful. She had taken this physical mess, this intellectual mess, and the emotional mess of this situation and made sense of it. That's the power of visual thinking, where you take a complex set of information and sketch out a diagram or drawing that reduces overwhelm, provides clarity and focus, and supports intentional action. And what I really appreciate about this example, and why I think Covert starts with it in this book, is that it shows you the visuals that you create don't have to be fancy. They don't have to be illustrative. For this diagram here, you only need to step up the first 2 rungs of the visual language ladder that I described in a previous video. All you're using here are words and shapes. So don't discount the value that can come from simple diagrams like this. And maybe even consider where in your life some sort of a timeline that maps out important tasks might be useful. And if you're interested in more of the diagramming side of visual thinking, I highly encourage you to pick up Covert's book. This is her second. The first is How to Make Sense of Any Mess, which is already on my shortlist for the 2026 Sketch Instinct Book Club. But as you can see from all these bookmarks here, there's a lot that I took away from this book. So do go pick it up. And if you'd like to follow along with my exploration of the world of visual thinking, then do subscribe here and head on over to verbaltovisual.com for some more resources. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.